Hi everybody, Jo here again. Thanks so much for popping in. I hope today's treating you well. Now, when we did the video the other day and we had our catch up and we looked at our acetate circle masks, a few of you got in touch and said you'd love to know a little bit more about the acetate hill masks. So I thought we'd just have a catch up about those. Now, might be you're a seasoned crafter and you're really au fait with them, which is great because do you know what? You can still come in, get yourself a brew, and we can still just have a bit of a catch up. And I'm going to start off, these are what we're going to look at, but I'll just put them up here for a minute and I'll bring in our hill masks. So these are the acetate hill masks and there are 4 in the pack. And I number mine just because it's easier for me, and especially with doing workshops, and I have them in order. So number 1 is quite a flat. If I put them on the black, I'm hoping that makes it a bit easier to see. It's quite a flat hill, and this is the bit we use, this part I'm going to concentrate on. And then number 2 is almost, look, we've got more of sort of hills. So if I turn it that way, that one's quite flat. Could do it this way, couldn't I? Come on, get organised, girl. And then that one, we've got more sort of hills. And then we come to the ones that we've got larger, almost we're going into the mountains there. And those of you that live near mountainous areas, there we go. And we've got this one. But that one can also be used that way. And again, they can all be used that way. And fabulous possibilities with these. You can use them for lots of things. So I'm just going to give you some little hints and tips of how to use them and start off with some of our Elements inks. So we'll pop that out the way. And what I thought is I'd just show you, so the basic one, we're going to start and look at this. And this is how to create just a standard scene. And I've already stamped up, I've got a piece of, this is just Multifarious card here. I know you want to know the size. I literally just cut this, so it's 7 by 4, and that's inches. And I really just thought it was a good size to show you. And just in case you're interested, that the stamps I'm using, so it's the Wild Hares, the small set, but also this beautiful Sacred Tree. I just take it off the acetate. Now, I've just stamped part of it, but look, such a beautiful stamp, and I think it's perfect for this time of year. So if you've got this one, I urge you to get it out and have a play. Would you believe I didn't have it, and I was doing a workshop at Lavinia a couple of weeks ago, and one of the ladies there had it, and I went, oh, how come I've not seen that stamp? I haven't got it. So I went and bought it straight away. So what we'll do is we're going to use the Elements ink, and I've just gone for olive just because it's a nice green, and I've got my stencil brush here. Now, if you've already got your own methods for using these, lovely, you fly, you use those. I'm just coming in, if we've got some of our lovely new followers, friends and followers, and these are the way that I would use it. But like I say, this is just my way. So obviously, if you don't like it, get your own. As I say, it's a bit like cooking, you know what we're like, we all have our own little quirks. Now, I'm going to start off with the number 1. So that's the flatter one. And I tend to turn my work just because it's easier for me. And we've got a slight shape, and I almost want to ground my tree and our bunny. So I'm thinking I just move it to a place where I think, see, I don't want it too high. Let me just turn it that way. Yeah, I've gone for that. So I'm happy with that. And I tend to hold it at this side. And as always, I've got my stencil brush in my ink. And again, hold it nice and loosely, dab it off in the lid. Now, a little tip here, we always recommend popping the ink on the mask first because that just takes the most of it off. But my next little tip is when you first actually bring some ink off the mask, I would go under your focal point. So I'll go under the tree, because when we first use this, we've got the most ink on our brush and it's going to be darker. So at least if it's dark under the tree, that can add to my shadow. Whereas if I start over here and it's too dark, I've almost got to make this even darker. Does that make sense? Well, that's the way my head works anyway. And it's almost just a routine you get into. And again, for this, hopefully this will help you. You'll be able to do so many different landscapes. These are just your almost little pointers. And once you've got them, change the colours, you know, change the stamps you use. So again, we'll start under the tree and just gently, just going to flick a little bit of ink, look. And then under the hair, again, flick a little bit of ink. And then I'm almost going to do a circular motion now and just bring it all the way. And then just blend into this bottom bit. If I wanted any more ink, I could pick some up off here, look. And again, just flick in that area. So now, as you can see, I've missed a little bit there under that tree. If I lift it up, can you see? So all I'm going to do is just move this, look, and just add a little bit there, just with what's on my, and we're going to add some shade anyway. So that just fills in that space. Now, if I want to add another hill, it doesn't look, if I put it, just go straight up, it almost looks a bit silly. Also, I don't want to chop his ears off. So what I'm thinking is, if I move it along, and I'm thinking, there, I'm going to go for that. So again, flick, I'm not adding any more ink. I'm going to put the lid on that. And again, I'm going to flick, just coming from the sides, flick, and just gently fill in that space. Now, if I want to see how it looks, look, I can lift it up, and yes, I've got plenty there. So I'm going to give that one a wipe, because I don't want to pick it up and get ink all over. And then I'm thinking, see, I could go number 2 next, or I'm thinking number 3. And I don't want it too high, I want room for my sky. So here, yeah, happy with that. And again, I'm not inking up, I've got less ink, very little ink left on here, and this will help with my perspective. And again, just filling in that space. And again, if I want to see, just lift it, yeah. And if you look, we've got those lovely hills in the distance now, and it's paler, so that helps with perspective. And again, give that a good old wipe. So the main thing to remember when we're doing we're working down. Now I'm going to add a little bit of shadow here, look. So I'm going to come back in with this number 1, but I'm going to bring in the graphite. Now I'm actually going to add my moon. So I know where my shadow's going to be. And I'm using the smaller brush, look. And again, on the mask, and just flick away. So again, we want some under the tree. And the small brushes are fabulous for this. And again, just flick down. And it just gives you, obviously, I would just add a little bit more under here. But it's just to give you the idea. And again, make sure we give this a wipe. And then I'm very quickly going to add a little bit, just to finish it off. Now, we used our circle masks for the sky. Was it last week? When we had our last get together. So, and this is good because it ties it all together. So Della Blue in the lid. And again, I've turned it upside down. If you remember, if I start at the bottom, it's just most ink on my brush, so my colour will be deeper. And then when I've got less ink, I can just come in the rest of the sky. So again, start at the bottom. And we're just going to, I don't want to spend too long on this because we did this the other week. And you've all been practicing it, I know you have. You'll be really good at this. And then if I turn it round, we've got that lovely, and that's the Della Blue sky. But I'm going to bring in a little bit of violet chalk just to add a little bit of just a purpley tinge in the sky. I love the way the Della blue and the violet chalk together. In the lid, remember. And then I'm just going to come in from this corner and just go across the moon here, look. Start in the corner. And I just want to add that lovely purpley tinge. Now this, with the tree, it could be any time of year. We've got lots of pound stamps, our lovely minis. And you could add some different coloured leaves. But I'm going for that sort of, you know, autumn. The leaves have just fallen. So I just love that purpley bit in the sky. And so that's your basis of using your beautiful masks to create the landscape. Now, the finished one, the only difference is here, I've added some colour with my watercolour pencils. Now, obviously, we can flick some water in the sky if we want. The finishing touches are up to you. I just want to give you the heads up on our beautiful landscape masks, the lovely hill masks. Now, if we want to have a wintry scene, we can just go that little bit different. And it's just the different way of using them. And I love things that we can use in lots of different ways. So let's clean our area. And we'll start with the same design. And we'll start with the number 1 again. And this time, now for this, 2 colours work really well, the Della blue or the graphite. But I've chosen to show you the graphite. And I'm going to use my little brush for this, my number 3. Now remember when we did our, as it were, say autumn landscape, we had the mask and we dragged the colour down. This time, we're going to actually have the mask underneath and drag the colour up. So what I'm going to do is I just want to get this shape. I'm just going to add, and again, gently, little bit of colour under his bottom, look. And then just under the tree so I can move it till I get a good, and I'm just going to drag it up. And we almost want to have some sort of snow or ice on the ground. So I'm just going to add a little bit more over here. And what I'm going to do is just want to offset it. So again, I'm just dragging, maybe if I put it this way, so it's not easier for you to see. If we put the mask here, look, and I'm just gradually, just tickling. We're almost creating that shadow so that we can see the white snow. And again, we'll have a little one here. I just want to offset it. And again, if you want to check, lift it. Yeah. And it just starts to build up that sort of snowy image. And we can just have one again. I don't want to chop his head off, so I'm just thinking here. Let's have a look. Yeah. Again, on the mask first, and just flick. Just going to put a little bit up the side. And again, gently, and up the side. And if I want to see what it looks like, lift it up. And we're starting to get that wintry sort of look. So what we can do now is bring our hills in. So I'm going to come in with our number 2. And again, I'm going to have a hill right over his head, look. I think that'll look nice there. So again, this way I'm going up. So I'll start at the edge on the mask, gently, little bit around the tree, just gives extra contrast. And I'm not going far, so I'm not doing large strokes, look, I'm just catching the edge. And if I lift that up, have a look, yeah. And we'll give that a wipe. And then we'll come for our big hills. Now, this time we're going up, but we can actually create our sky, if that makes sense. So we'll get our Della blue out. And if I put it this way, sorry I keep turning things to the side, it's just I find it easier to work that way. So I'm thinking, because I want my moon here, it looks nice if I can mirror that shape, look, with a hill or a mountain, sort of a dip here. So I'm happy with that. So if I turn it this way, just so it's easier for me. And again, this is the Della blue now because we're going to create the sky. So onto the mask and gently, gently. And I don't want to go too high here because I know I'm going to add my moon there. But this side I can flick quite high. And again, if I want to look, lift that up. So again, can you see we've actually got our snowy hills and our sky. So if I bring my moon mask, pop it here, again, start at the bottom, go all the way around. Again, just move my thumb. And then we'll come in with a little bit, oh, nearly. We'll come in with a little bit of this purple just to give those lovely purple tones in the sky again. And it makes it that lovely sort of Christmassy, wintry feel. As I say, that the purple, the violet chalk and the Della blue work so well together. And it gives it that lovely sort of icy crisp. So if we just take that right across. Now, let me see if I bring it closer, look. Can you see? You probably can't pick it up very much, but honestly, have a go and see. And remember, nice light touch. Hold your brush gently, gently, and just bring it across the sky. And then what I'm also going to do is just gently, gently bring a little bit just across the base. And it almost adds that purpley tone into the snow. It's very gently, gently. Because often the sky, the colour is reflected on the land. So if we add those little purpley tones. And then what I'm going to do just for the shadows, I'll come back in with our number 1 look. And I'm going to add a little bit of purple. So I'm going for my smaller brush. Now I could use grey for the shadow, but I think the purple will just really reflect and enhance that sky. So if I put the moons there, so it's going to be slightly that way there. And then the tree. And I'm just using my mask really so I don't get purple on the tree. And then just add a nice, and I just think the purpley tones for the shadow look lovely. Now, like I say, finishing touches, you can flick some Posca, you can add our lovely glitters, but it's just to show you the difference. And again, if I bring the finished one in, look, I've coloured the tree again with my watercolour pencils. I've sort of gone for greys, a little bit of brown, but I've tied that purple, that lovely lilac in, just so it gives us that lovely cohesive design. Now for me, I'd just flick some water on here, let it faux bleach, and then add some Posca splats for my snow. And I think a sentiment, and that would be a lovely winter's scene. So if I bring in, so it's just really the difference, to recap, the main difference for me is to drag the colour down for my almost spring, summer, autumn scenes. But then for a winter, we drag the colour up. So I'm hoping that's helped. And I'm hoping you get fun out of your fabulous 4 masks. They are so useful. You can use them on your watercolour card too. Use them with your powders, with your dinkles to protect an area and sprinkle above. Honestly, we're only just touching the surface. Fabulous. So I'm hoping you enjoyed that. And maybe you could do me a design using what we're going to go for. Or maybe make all 4. Maybe stamp yourself and do spring, summer, autumn, winter. Oh, I'd love to see what you do. Please tag me in. Anyway, thanks for popping in as always. must get on. Time to walk Eric before it rains again. You take care. Love and hugs from me. Bye for now.